right, so we decided to go with an Airbnb here in Antigua, and I didn't even realize that we got the whole top floor. So check it out. Antigua is a city that personally reminds me of my trip to Cusco in Peru. Similar to Cusco, Antigua was once the capital city of Guatemala. In 1773, it was decimated by a major earthquake that destroyed most of the city, but many of its monuments and structures survived and are preserved to this day. After the massive earthquake, the city was partially abandoned and regulations were put in place prohibiting the construction of new buildings. For this reason, and due to more recent regulations, the city has maintained its 16th century Renaissance character. Antigua was once the cultural, religious, political, and educational center for the entire region until the capital was moved to its current location just east of Antigua. The city was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1979 and is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the entire country. Aside from its beautiful colonial structures and features, the city offers some of the best views of the surrounding natural landscape. Two of the country's most popular volcanoes, Fuego and Acatenango, can clearly be seen from Antigua. All right, we just made it to Antigua, and our first stop is the Santa Catalina Arch. It's a famous landmark here in the middle of town. Check it out. So we just made it to Antigua, and one of our first stops is a place called Frida's. This place, of course, is named after the famous Frida Kahlo. It's interesting because we just got back from Mexico City, where Frida's from, and then when we end up in Guatemala, we come to a restaurant named after her. This place serves authentic Mexican food as well as mezcal. It's got great reviews. It's right in the middle of town, so make sure you check it out when you're in Antigua.
Este es un 400 conejos joven, por favor, con 44.5 grados de alcohol. Todo mezcal viene desde Oaxaca, México. Este es lo que ven por acá, es nuestro maridaje, gajos de naranja con sal de chapulines y nuestros famosos crickets. ¿Okay? Con todo gusto, es un placer.
Muchas gracias.
Para servirte.
All right, so we just made it here to Hato Verde, and as soon as we got to the top, it started to rain. But this restaurant is popular for its food, but also because it has views of Antigua that are second to none. It has a couple different viewing platforms, and it's about 20 minutes outside the city by car, and then you park, and then an employee comes and gets you in a golf cart, takes you to a higher elevation where the viewing platforms are located along with the restaurant itself. So even though it's raining, it's okay. It's still a great place to be, and we're loving it here. All right, so it's our last day here in Guatemala. It's about 4:30 in the morning, and we're about to kick off a volcano hike to end the trip. The three most popular volcanoes in Antigua are Agua, Acatenango, and Fuego. We're going to be hiking up Acatenango, which is arguably one of the most difficult hikes in the entire country. At its highest point, it is over 13,000 feet in elevation. It's a 2-day, 1-night hike. Basically, you hike to base camp, spend the night, and then hike to the top of Acatenango to catch the sunrise. From Acatenango, you could see Fuego, which is an active volcano with eruptions occurring approximately every 30 minutes. So apparently you get some amazing views of that at night if the weather's clear. We'll see. The weather's been hit and miss for us since we've been here. So for this one, you're going to want to do your research. Definitely hire a reputable guide. We hired a company called OX Adventures, OX Adventures. They seem to have great reviews both locally and internationally. So I'm super excited for this. I'm very nervous right now, but I've been prepping for it for the last few weeks. So I'm confident everything's going to go well and we're going to have a great time. We'll see you out there. So we're at the main office, Ox Adventures here, and it's about 9 a.m. There's about 15 people in our group. We have a few guides and we're about to kick it off.
Hello everyone, my name is Romeo Hernandez. I'm gonna be in charge of this Fuego and Acatenango hike that we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be hiking Fuego volcano around 4:30. Watching sunset from there. We're gonna come back down, dinner at the campsite, and is where the first day on this adventure will end. We're gonna start the second day at 3:30 in the morning, where we're gonna be waking up, leaving to the highest point of Acatenango at 4 a.m. We're gonna reach Acatenango highest point to enjoy the sunrise from there, and 45 minutes coming back down, breakfast, and this is how the hike will be. 2 hours and a half the way down, plus 1 hour of driving from the trailhead to Antigua, and we're gonna be ending up our hike around noon. So let's grab the backpacks, let's get the sticks, and we go.
But it looks like we're gonna be kicking things off here in just a few minutes. Still in the first hour, and it's not easy. As you can see, I'm having a little trouble. Calves are on fire, lungs are on fire, but just taking it one step at a time. Hopefully we're about to get a break here in just a sec. All right, entrada, entrance, all that just to get to the entrance. So we're on a second break here, and the hike's getting tougher and tougher. Obviously, the higher we get in elevation, the less oxygen we have. So at its highest point, it's 40% less oxygen. So it's getting a little more taxing, but that shouldn't deter you from doing this. Just be ready, maybe train at altitude, do a little research beforehand, but we're about to continue onward. And we'll see you in just a few at the next break. All right, I hope you can hear me okay. Having some issues with my external mic. We made it to the part of the hike that's considered a cloud forest. The first part of the hike was just straight up. This part actually goes back and forth as it goes uphill. So it's a little bit more manageable. Still difficult, so definitely take breaks if you decide to do this, but we are in the thick of it. So this is our longest rest stop. We're having lunch now. We're still in Cloud Forest, so still a ways to go, but a much needed rest. So we have a little campsite here. Legs are officially cramping up. Lungs are tightening up. Air is getting pretty thin up here, but gotta keep pushing. Okay, so this is our last break before we reach base camp. We are 3,400 meters in elevation. Base camp's 3,500 meters, so it's not much further. And just taking a quick little break before we finish things off and make it to base camp. About 1 more hour. Looks like the last people in our group made it. All right, so we're just about there. We're taking a quick break, and the visibility is very low at this point. It's very foggy, and this is why it's so important to have a good guide, travel in a group if you're gonna do this Acatenango tour. Several hikers have lost their lives recently hiking Acatenango due to exposure to the elements, getting lost, succumbing to hypothermia. So it might seem simple, but just follow the leader, but when the visibility is low and you're tired, you can easily lose track of where you are. So that's my 2 cents. So we made it to base camp, and it is super foggy up here, but it's been like that pretty much every day for us. But the good thing about it is that it's been clearing up in the morning. So hopefully tomorrow morning we get a clear view of Fuego, Acatenango, and the sunrise. And we just had an eruption right there. And that is Fuego erupting, and there's the smoke coming from it. And we've already heard a couple of eruptions, and the earth shakes. It just feels like an earthquake, and it's pretty crazy to be that close to an active volcano. And hopefully tonight we'll have a good view of some of the eruptions. We just saw one right now. Here's where we're gonna be sleeping, and this is the rest of base camp right here. So we're gonna get a fire started here in a minute and start to layer up because it's freezing up here. And these are sleeping quarters where we're gonna be tonight.
It was not easy, right? Yeah. So the staff of Ox is preparing the cabins that you guys will be taking. This is our communal area that is only for our groups. So take a break, find a jacket if you are cold. Let us know. We're gonna do the division of the people like as soon as we can to make you feel like inside the cabins warmer and just be a little bit comfy and not like over here. For the ones that are planning to do the Fuego hike, if the weather stays like that, we go tomorrow morning. But let's wait until 5. We can go like around 4:30 or the latest 5, and Fuego and back.
Volcán Agua, and we are headed to Fuego from Acatenango. All right, so we made it up to base camp, and now we are headed. This is an optional part of the tour where you could decide to go to Fuego, which is the active volcano we talked about, with eruptions occurring about every 30 minutes. One just occurred right now. So it's about another 2-hour hike to get to Fuego. And about half of our group decided to do it. So that's where we're headed. We're almost to the top of Fuego. This is the last home stretch right here, and that's going to offer the best views of the volcano and all the lava. A few more minutes. So we just finished our hike up to get to Volcán Fuego, where you can clearly see the eruptions. It's erupted at least 20 times since we've been here. And I had no idea this kind of hike was even available. To get this close to an active volcano is just incredible. And it felt a little sketchy at first, but the guides at here at Aux have been great. They've made us feel safe. They've waited on us. And I'm super glad I finished this second part of the hike. I'm gonna sleep real well tonight. All right, so it's day 2 here on our Fuego Acatenango hike. Pretty tired, but we made it, and I'm so glad that we were able to do this hike here in Guatemala. And we're about to head down, but first we're catching the sunrise. Finishing off a trip with a challenge is always a great way to say goodbye to a new place. Guatemala surprised me in several ways, but the most lasting impression was from my time spent hiking Acatenango and Fuego. TravFit has always been about combining my passion for fitness with my passion for traveling. This hike was extremely challenging, and it motivated me to push myself in the weeks leading up to this trip. Saying goodbye to Guatemala wasn't easy, but I was glad I was able to leave on a high note and finish off the trip with a volcano hike that most only dream about. With that being said, this hike may appear difficult, but it most definitely is not impossible. My hope is that this episode inspires you to make your own travel goals a reality, and maybe even motivates you to experience Fuego and Acatenango for yourselves. Until that time, stay strong, keep those bags packed, and we'll see you soon on the next one.